right, let's go ahead and begin. Thanks again. We are here to talk about housing options for our undergraduate students, and we have a wealth of campus partners here today to do just that. So my name is Grace Fuller. I serve as the manager of International Experience and Engagement here at the International Services and Engagement Office. And I'm joined by several of my colleagues, both in our office and across campus, as well as the community. And I'll pass it on for folks to introduce themselves. So over to you, Jessica.
Good morning, everyone, or good evening, or hello from wherever you might be joining us. My name is Jessica Boyle. I am an international student advisor, also in the International Services and Engagement Office.
Hi, good morning. I'm not able to turn on my video, but my name is Malia Mahi. I'm representing Housing, Dining, and Hospitality. We just want to welcome you here today.
Hi, everybody. My name is Pamela Kramer. I'm the Dining Engagement Coordinator for Dining Services. Welcome, everybody.
Hi, y'all. My name is Marisa Islas. I'll be representing off-campus housing through the Basic Needs Center.
I don't know if Christine has been able to join us yet, so go ahead, Carl, if you would like to introduce yourself.
Yeah, of course. My name's Carl. I'm a former international student who moved to San Diego, and I'm now the CEO of a company called Hugs, and I'm happy to join today.
Wonderful. All right, so here's a little snapshot of how we are going to spend our time together today. So we have our first steps checklist. These are some reminders from undergraduate admissions as well as our office for what you can do as when you first begin your journey here at UC San Diego. Then we're going to spend some time talking about on-campus housing and what that might look like for you as a future Triton. We'll also talk about some off-campus housing options as well. Finally, we're going to end with some additional housing resources, and then we will have some reminders before we transition into our open question and answer. So you can submit questions throughout today's webinar, but we might encourage you to wait a little bit to see if your question will be answered, and we will have that dedicated time at the end. A few housekeeping items before we begin. You are in listen-only mode, so you can hear us, but unfortunately we cannot hear you. So the main way we will interact together today is through that Q&A feature on your Zoom menu bar. If for some reason we aren't able to get to your question, you can always reach out to our office via icontact.ucsd.edu. And finally, we are recording. So you'll be able to view this webinar recording as well as any others at inewstudentwebinars.ucsd.edu. This is also the place where you can register for upcoming webinars. So here is just that friendly reminder of what that Zoom Q&A feature will likely look like. And here are some first steps as you begin your journey. So if you well, first, congratulations on getting accepted into UC San Diego. And if you are deciding that UC San Diego is the place where you'll spend your next few years, we encourage you to definitely log into your applicant portal and complete your enrollment checklist. This will include, firstly, accepting your offer of admission. Some of our students are so excited that they actually skip over accepting that offer, but that's a really critical piece. It allows us to know that you're coming to UC San Diego, and it also activates a few of the next steps. Additionally, we want to highlight completing the California residency for tuition purposes. I know that many students have questions about this very thing, and so this is a great link. I'll go ahead and drop that. Oh, Jessica, already, thank you so much. So those links you can access in the chat to learn more about those pieces. But in terms of accepting your offer admission and logging into your applicant portal. So once you accept that offer of admission, 2 to 3 days later, you will receive an email similar to the screenshot below, asking you to create your Triton Link Active Directory as well as your Duo accounts. And these are really critical pieces because you'll use these logins to essentially access almost every platform here at UC San Diego. So the Active Directory will then provide you with your UC San Diego PID or personal identification number, as well as your UC San Diego email. And with your PID and email, you can begin to request some important forms, such as your I-20 form for the F1 visa or the DS 2019 form for the J1 visa. So iNew student, so if you're an international student, which I'm hoping many of you are, you will go to inewstudent.ucsd.edu, and the left-hand side is kind of that landing page, that home page. Click on your educational level. So for many of you, that'll be undergraduate students. And it will take you to this next screen where we've broken down the process in 3 main steps. Under these 3 main steps, there's a wealth of information. So we really do encourage you to click through that website. This is meant to be a resource for you to go back to. And at each stage in your journey, we'll hope to give you the information when it's most relevant to you. So if you have any more questions about that, we have had 2 previous webinars, including how to request some of those documents, as well as how to apply for your student visa. And you can access those at inewstudentwebinars.ucsd.edu. But this website, inewstudent.ucsd.edu, also breaks down that information in what we hope is a very clear and easy to understand format. So those are just some reminders as you begin your journey as an international undergraduate Triton. But with that, let's go ahead and talk about some on-campus housing, and I'll hand it over to my colleagues in housing, dining, and hospitality.
Thanks, Grace. Again, I just want to repeat huge congratulations to our students joining us from all over the world today. It is quite an accomplishment to be accepted here at UC San Diego. It's a very competitive process, so I hope that you and your families and supporters are very proud of the work you did to get here. My name is Malia Mahi. My pronouns are she, her, hers. I am the Associate Director for Housing Administrative Services. So our team manages the housing contract process, as well as the billing for your housing and your dining plans. I also have a student who's a first year in college as well. And so next slide, please. I want to make sure that students are aware that our incoming class will receive a 2-year housing guarantee. So housing is not mandatory here at UC San Diego. It is a choice for you to live here on campus, but it is important for you to live on campus your admit year if you wanted to take advantage of the 2-year housing guarantee that is available for all of our new incoming admits. That includes both first-year students as well as our transfers. The housing guarantee means if you're interested to live in campus housing, we will have a space for you. It's very critical that you meet all the housing deadlines. If you do miss a deadline, you do forfeit that housing guarantee. And so I just want to make sure that you take a look at the criteria here on the slide. Again, you don't have to live on campus, but if you are interested in the housing guarantee, you do need to live on campus for your admit year. You do have to meet all the housing and campus deadlines as far as saying yes to admissions, as Grace talked about, as well as some of the deadlines we'll talk about here shortly for housing. You do have to complete the full term of your contract for the academic year, or this year we do have for our transfer students a new housing location with a 12-month contract offer. If you do cancel or terminate your contract during that year, you do forfeit your guarantee. And then you just need to make sure that you maintain your housing eligibility throughout the year as well. So our housing package, it comes with, we like to say, more than just a room. We don't want anyone to come here and feel stressed about having to set up utilities and find roommates. So it's pretty much all done for you essentially through the housing process. But you can see here, it's a pretty comprehensive package. And again, we call it a package because it does include both your housing as well as your flexible dining plan that Pam is going to explain to you in a few moments. Here in our housing, we offer 24/7 maintenance custodial services. You can either call them directly or you can enter what we call a fix-it ticket online. Again, it includes all utilities. So as international students coming here from other places, you don't have to worry about establishing credit, both for housing, additionally for utilities sometimes. You don't have to worry about providing different documentations. Some of the off-campus places may require that you prove that you're making 2 to 3 times the amount of the rent. There is no deposit here. There is no application fee. So what we want to provide you is you can show up and just move in, and you don't have to do anything else. And again, here on campus, we offer a streaming cable service. You have Wi-Fi. We offer weekly housekeeping as well for the common areas in either your residence hall or apartment, all except for our Pepper Canyon West location. We have laundry facilities here on site at each of our residential communities, so you don't have to go anywhere, drag laundry baskets around to do laundry. And again, being on campus allows you to immerse yourself into the campus housing experience, hopefully make those lifelong connections and create new friendship groups and a support system here while you're living on campus. So important dates. I talked a little bit about how critical it is to make sure that we're meeting all the dates and deadlines. Again, you must do this in order to maintain that housing guarantee. I would highly recommend to our students to make sure whatever process you use to remind yourself of deadlines, whether that was for exams or sports or whatever you were doing before you got here to UC San Diego, please, please, please make sure to help yourself, engage your families and supporters to help you remember as well. But it's a two-step process. So your first step is going to be your housing application. What you need to do is, again, make sure to say yes here to UC San Diego. You will be asked to activate what we call a single sign-on process, and you will also be asked to activate your ucsd.edu email. Those three steps do need to happen before you're going to get the invite to complete your housing application. And so once you do those three steps, we are able to get your information from admissions, and you will get an email both to your personal email and your UCSD email, providing you an invitation to apply for housing. So the deadlines for the application are Wednesday, the 22nd of May for our first year students, and Friday, June 7th for our first year transfers. If for some reason you've done all those steps and you haven't seen anything, it does take anywhere from 24 to 48 hours for us to sometimes extract the information from admissions, but you're always welcome to reach out to us if you have any questions. So step one is that housing application. There is no fee to file a housing application. It is completely free. So if you are unsure about potentially what your choice may be for housing here in San Diego, I highly recommend that you go ahead and complete that housing application just in case, because if you don't do that, you will not be invited for the housing contract process. Step two is going to be our housing contract process. We will again send email invites out the week of June 17th. So again, mark that down, make sure you're keeping an eye out. The email will be coming from housingcontracts@ucsd.edu. We also like to recommend that you add us as a contact just to make sure our emails don't go to spam or junk folders. And then the process will be due, and this is the same deadline for both first years and transfers, Monday, July 1st. At this point, you will electronically sign your housing contract, and you will also be asked to submit a $450 housing prepayment, as well as select your dining plan. That prepayment goes towards the overall cost of housing. It is not in addition to, so it does get applied to the total cost that you're going to end up paying. You do have the option to submit a roommate request, as well as your room type preferences, and that would be through the housing contract process as well. Your room preferences can be anywhere from single, double, triple, or mini double, depending on the housing location that you'd be assigned to. Our students are assigned to residential locations for our first years based on your college of registration. Our transfer students are assigned to our transfer housing locations, which we call the Village, and that is Pepper Canyon East, Matthews, and then we have the Rita and Pepper Canyon West. So if you are interested in providing a roommate request, you both have to be registered in the same college in order for us to house you both together. A couple other just notes for our international students. Our residence halls and apartments do remain open both during our winter break and as well as our fall break. So you are welcome to stay on campus. There is no additional fee. So you don't have to go home during that time as well. And then around mid-August, you all will be able to log into what we call your housing portal. That's where you're going to be doing your application and contract. And you will be able to see your space assignment as well as your roommate assignments. As we've noted, there are some optional opportunities to apply for what we call a living learning community or gender inclusive housing. So these are just another way, just like the college system here, it's just another way to boil down our colleges, your interest and experience and cultural resonance into what we call a living learning community. For these areas, you do not have to be enrolled in a specific college because these are kind of sprinkled throughout our residential housing areas. We have a few living learning communities opportunities. One is our LGBTQIA+, and that is located at Muir College. We have a multicultural living learning community at 6. We have the African Black Diaspora, which is also at 6. We have Raza, which is at Eleanor Roosevelt College, which we call ERC. And then we have Warren College incoming transfers, and that's specifically for students registered to Warren who is an incoming transfer student. And we also offer iHouse. So that's not identified as a living learning community, but it does provide additional student-centered programming for our domestic and international scholars. They're also housed at ERC. So the opportunity to apply for those will be, the deadline is Monday, July 8th. And then you'll receive a decision so you'll know what to expect as far as room placement and housing assignments. Next slide, please. And so we also understand that cost is going to be important for you. So here on the screen, you can see our different options. So as far as housing assignments, our first year students should assume that they're going to be assigned, as I said, to residence halls and or apartments in their college of registration. If for some reason we need to place you somewhere else, you're going to be in an adjacent community area. Incoming transfer housing assignments will be at the Village, as I stated, so Pepper Canyon East, Matthews, Rita Atkinson, and Pepper Canyon West apartments. Again, students are going to find out their room assignment late August, and you do have an opportunity to adjust and right size your dining plan, and you have until October 2nd. We like to do that so that students have a chance once they move in to go ahead and try out all of our dining facilities, our wonderful markets that Pam is going to talk to you about, and then kind of right size your plan, figure out how to budget for yourself and how much you might think you're going to need for the academic year for dining. On the right-hand side, you can see we have our different facility types, a residence hall, our different room types, triple, single, doubles, mini doubles. And so that is the total cost that includes both your room cost as well as the cost for your dining plan. And Pam will explain a little bit more about everything you're going to get with your dining plan as well. Okay, I'm going to hand it off to Pam.
Hi, everybody. So I am here to talk to you a little bit more about campus dining. My name is Pamela Kramer, as I mentioned before. I'm the dining engagement coordinator. My department, which is the engagement team, we have a bunch of student ambassadors and career staff that work with us, and we do the marketing and social media, but we also do like the special events and all that fun stuff at the different restaurants and markets. And we also run the dining engagement email. So if you have any questions or concerns, you can email us at any time, and we can help you get you in the right direction. So next slide. So as Malia mentioned, you have 3 different dining plans to choose from. You have the Triton, Triton Blue, and Triton Gold. And which plan you pick really just depends on you. And as Malia mentioned, you'll have time to change it when you first get on campus. So make sure you check everything out and see where you are so you can make any changes that are needed before October 2nd. The Triton, our base plan, if you're like most of you're all going to be here most of the time having meals on campus. If you're a big eater or anything like that, you probably want to go with the Triton Gold or one of the bigger plans. We suggest that for athletes or somebody who is just going to eat every meal on campus. You have the Triton Blue, which is kind of the mid-range, and then you have the Triton, which is the base plan. Now, each of the plans are broken down between Triton Cash and Dining Dollars, and the difference between the two items, Dining Dollars can only be used at the HDH dining facilities, and I'll talk about their locations a little bit later, but those are going to be, you'll see them in your residence. And then we also have markets in the residential area. Sorry, we have markets located all over campus too. So you can use those at any of those locations. Now, your Triton Cash part of your plan can be used in any of the, if you think of like a franchise type restaurant, like a Subway or Rubio's, you can use those there. So you're going to get a mix of the two. So you can use your dining plan at any restaurant on campus. And there is a huge variety of restaurants on campus. There's so many options for you to choose from. Your dining plan is going to be loaded right on your campus ID card. So we have this one card system, so it'll all be right there. Super easy for you to use. And you're going to get your whole plan right at move-in. Each purchase is automatically deducted from your account. So it works just like a debit card. Our locations are set up as an a la carte, so it's going to work just like restaurants or markets anywhere else. There's no swipes or all you care to eat. So if you walk into a market and just want an apple and a coffee, you're just paying for an apple and a coffee. There's no fee to just walk through the door. There's not a flat rate. There's not a set amount of swipes or anything like that. No expiring swipes. So you're going to have your money and you can budget as you see fit throughout the year. Next slide, please. We're also like to mention that we're more than just a dining plan. We have a lot of options available to you. To some of our best items that we can talk about are the registered dietitians that we have available. You can meet with them. It's a free and confidential service. You can meet with them whenever you'd like. They can help you with anything you need with meal planning, anything like that. But they also run our allergen program. So if you are a student that is going to be eating on campus and you have an allergy, we ask you to register with the Office of Students with Disabilities. And once you do that, that will enroll you into our allergen program. And the way the allergen program works out is we have these allergen kitchens at different restaurants throughout the campus. And you would pre-order from a preset menu, and they would prepare your meal in a separate zone, and it would be handed off to you. So they would have a file on you, what your allergy is, and they would be able to monitor and keep track, and you would work with each chef and our dietitians to make sure that you're eating safely on campus. If you have an allergy that you're able to self-monitor or any other kind of dietary needs, we do have allergen icons on all of our menus. You will be able to walk in and see what's on there. But if you have a severe allergy, we do ask you to please go ahead and register with OSD and be at least so we have your file and we can make sure that we're monitoring and making sure that you're having your food safely prepared for you. As I mentioned, we do a lot of special events throughout campus. We're preparing for some big ones coming up soon. We have Lay Day. We do a very big May the 4th Be With You event. This year, it's the theme is Revenge of the Sixth. So we're highlighting all of our villains from the Star Wars era. We have a quarterly de-stress brunch that's very popular. It's at the beginning of finals week every quarter. Lots of fun food and a free chocolate fountain at the different locations, just so you can unwind a little bit. We also do promotions and contests through our mobile ordering app, and we do cooking demonstrations down at our food lab. So there's a lot of different options for you to choose from, and there's a lot more than just the dining plan that's available to you. Next slide, please. Like I mentioned, we have a wide variety of locations. We have 11 different restaurants on campus that are just the HDH dining locations. That doesn't include all the franchise and other restaurants that you'd be able to use at your with your Triton Cash. We do have a GLOT certified kosher kitchen and restaurant on campus. We also have a halal certified restaurant on campus. We have a wide variety of vegetarian and vegan options at all of our locations. And we also have a vegan restaurant. If you want to make sure, just have that. It's a great place to eat at. It's called Roots. It's over at Mirror. We have food trucks, we have catering, we have a wide variety of different options in our dining. We also have market locations. The markets are incredibly popular with the students. And like I mentioned before, you can use your dining dollars or Triton Cash at the markets, but you want to make sure that you use your dining dollars at the markets and restaurants when it's an HDH location so that you're saving your Triton Cash for the Triton Cash only locations. 3 of our markets have been transformed over to Amazon Just Walk Out. So with those, you would just swipe to enter, and then it would track you as you go, and you'd be able to just walk out the door and not stop and pay. It will automatically charge you. It really reduces lines. And then we also have other markets that are still just kind of your regular system. There's a wide variety of options at the markets. We have grab and go, we have groceries, health and beauty items, there's produce, there's protein, anything you'd like to pick up if you like to prepare your own meals, anything like that. And they're all, each of our markets also has a very popular coffee house inside for any of espresso or coffee drinks that you're looking for. And our markets are open late night. All of our locations are open 7 days a week. We have a wide variety of hours. Generally, our restaurants open at 7 a.m. during the week, and a lot of them close at 11 p.m. And then our markets, the Just Walk Out locations, close at midnight and also open earlier. Our hours are a little bit reduced on the weekend, but we still have locations open at all the different colleges. One of the things I'd like to always mention is that in order to get the most out of your dining plan, you're best to go out and check all the different restaurants. Don't just eat at your college, get out there, try the different restaurants. They're all different. Everything, each of our locations has a different menu. So if you're craving certain items, just check out our website or go on the mobile ordering app and get out there and explore, and it'll really give you the best value for your plan. Next slide. We are also at Dining Here the largest employer of students on campus. We have a lot of international students working for us. So if you would like a job with dining, we can help you with any of the paperwork that needs to be completed in order to get you employment here. We offer flexible schedules. So students would turn in their class schedule and we plan their schedule around their classes and any other extracurricular activities they have going on. We offer competitive wages, and one of the best benefits of working with dining is that you would get a free meal with every shift that you work. So it's a great way to stretch the dollar. Any skills gained while working at any of the dining locations or markets would be part of your co-curricular record, but it's also just a really great way to make friends and get involved on the campus. So hopefully we'll see you working at one of our locations. I hope that you join us. Next slide. Oh, sorry, it's the end for me.
Just realized I was muted. Thank you so much. We'll have that contact information in the chat for you should any future questions arise. But with that, we'll hand it over to our colleagues from off-campus housing. So over to you, Marisa.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. My name is Marisa Islas, pronounced she, her, hers, and I'm representing off-campus housing through the Basic Needs Center. So hello, I'm the Basic Needs Housing and Education Assistant. I hope everyone is having a lovely Tuesday so far. To recap today, we will be reviewing some general housing information and resources that are available to the entirety of our campus community, and we wish to honor the specific and additional barriers that international students typically have to navigate while searching for housing. Luckily, we have some community partners such as Hugs that provide additional resources specific to y'all, so definitely excited to hear from them. But for now, we'll touch on off-campus housing. Next slide, please. So what is the Off-Campus Housing Office? The Off-Campus Housing Office offers resources to aid students in their transition to off-campus living. A resource some of y'all may already be familiar with is the Off-Campus Housing website. Here you can access property listings or upload your own property listing, do roommate searches, seek platform recommendations, read up on first-time renting tips, lease overviews, emergency resources, and more. Once you enter offcampushousing.ucsd.edu into your search bar, you will see a layout like this. The off-campus housing website is solely for UCSD affiliates, so you can ensure that it is very safe. You can log in with your UCSD user ID or PID if you're a UCSD student, faculty, or staff. And if you're a property lister or someone without a user ID or PID, you would see the option on the right to log in as a guest. And again, these login credential requirements assist in creating a safer platform. So when searching for housing, you can adjust your preferences by how much you are looking to spend, if you want a house or apartment, the specific location you're looking for, and other specific requests. You can also find resources on how to review rental agreements, and how to understand one's responsibilities as a tenant, both being fundamental parts of the housing search. Additionally, the roommate search tool on the website provides students with the opportunities to search for potential roommates that also attend UCSD. And through this feature, students also have the option to create their own roommate profiles, including important information relating to preferences and roommate characteristics. Next slide, please. So additionally, we have an annual educational campaign, which is our 6-part series on off-campus housing education. And through these videos, we're able to highlight intentional services available and helpful recommendations to students as they embark on their off-campus housing search. Next slide, please. So centering the very first educational campaign from 2022, this covered the basics of the off-campus housing search, such as deciding your needs and your wants, how to fill out a rental application, knowing what a lease is, a roommate agreement, and more. So definitely check that out if you are interested in living off campus and don't know where to start. Next slide, please. And with our 2023 campaign, that's centered on housing and identity, specifically elevating common off-campus housing experiences within different student communities. In that series, we uploaded an international student video, so definitely make sure to take a look at that. And with our 2024 educational campaign that just came out a few weeks ago, that's centered on how to be a civically engaged renter. Because as students, it's important for y'all to know how to advocate for yourselves, especially when it comes to fair rights to fair and just housing. So if you're interested in checking any of those campaigns out over the years, you can check out our Instagram at UCSD Basic Needs or visit our website basicneeds.ucsd.edu and check out the educational campaign tab under housing resources. I can also drop that in the chat after I'm done speaking so y'all don't have to look for that. And next slide, please. To add, here are 3 additional housing resources that I recommend. First is the AS Housing Guide, which serves as an additional resource for first-time renters. Additionally, the Summer 2021 Off-Campus Housing Webinar is another great resource for an additional guide. And with student legal services, another resource I highly recommend, which allows students to access information regarding leasing and legal topics. And they even can sit down with you through a consultation and look at your lease together. So just want to put that out there, and definitely recommend y'all to check that out and schedule an appointment if you are ever interested. Next slide, please. So moving on to non-UCSD affiliated public search platforms, which oftentimes assist in finding alternative housing, other listing, potential roommates, and potentially cheaper leases. PadMapper is a public platform we like to recommend along with Spare Room. PadMapper is a property search website and Spare Room is a roommate search website. And additionally, want to recommend the Facebook housing groups as well, where students can join and look for listings or roommates. Additionally, there are transitional housing options if you are ever between leases. So you can check out hostels or Airbnb rentals as well as verbal rentals. And lastly, you can also search for Corporate Housing San Diego to find other transitional housing options geared towards traveling professionals. And just to let y'all know, these apartments are short-term and often furnished. Next slide, please. Okay, so now let's dive into some housing search tips that we have put together because of the typical concerns we've heard. So first off is when to begin. In general, the answer is going to be it depends. It depends on what type of lease you are looking for and when you are looking to sign a lease. However, when centering the trends in the housing market, if you are looking for a summer lease, the time is between now and May. And if you're looking for a fall lease, the time varies, but we suggest you begin looking no later than June. Since San Diego has a large student community, you may also want to consider if properties are willing to hold a listing with a holding fee until you are ready to move on. Next, you want to start by building your list of needs versus wants and truly understand what your non-negotiables are when it comes to a listing. This list should include your budget, preferred locations, transit options, otherwise known as how you're getting to campus, and potential roommates, as well as amenities. We also want to note that you should be strategic about your affordability. So consider a month-to-month lease if your financials could be less stable versus a full year commitment. Additionally, a few tips while navigating your search include requesting a virtual and/or in-person tour of the property, and just want to put it out there as well. Be sure to not sign the lease or pay any deposits until you can physically check out the property. I know that's maybe not always possible, but like I said, even a virtual tour um, is great. So you never know what if you're seeing in photos or virtually is truly what the property has to offer you. So that's why I always want to recommend that. And of course, you want to ensure that the property aligns with those needs and wants that you created. So with all of that in mind, um, just wanted to center that with the housing crisis, it is easy and to want to quickly find a housing to ensure stability. However, there is a lot of value in ensuring that your holistic experience of living off campus will help you during your time at UC San Diego. And just want to bring it back to the educational campaign, which I talked about earlier. All of these tips and more are comprehensively outlined through our educational campaign. So definitely check that out. It gives a thorough breakdown of the housing search from where and when to start, to negotiating leases, to housing services in the area, and more. So I'll drop that link in the chat later. Next slide, please. And I know that was a lot of information. This is the last slide, so thank y'all for bearing with me. Lastly, commuter resources. As y'all may expect, commuting comes with its own unique challenges. When I was an undergrad at UCSD, I commuted from my first year, and what really helped me was looking out for any resources available. So if y'all are on Facebook, there's a commuters group that allows students to connect with other fellow commuters. And there's also a commuter resources page on TridenLink with a list of helpful links. You can also find resources for commuters on the off-campus housing website, such as information on the campus shuttles, parking, affordable grocery stores, and a new Plan Your Commute tool to review transit-efficient locations when searching for off-campus housing. And that is all for me. Thank you all.
Thank you. All right, so now we have some additional housing resources that we'd like to highlight and share with you all. First, we do want to call out, so we have a section on our website that's dedicated to specifically international students trying to find housing. It gives you an overview of some of your on-campus housing options as well as your off-campus housing options, in addition to just some miscellaneous information like what are some common housing terms that you'll likely encounter in the housing search, commuting resources, tenant rights, scams, leases. So we've tried to gather a lot of the information that we've covered here today, for example, and put it in one place that you can refer back to. And then finally, we do want to call out that unfortunately, when often identifying housing and specifically off-campus housing, there are folks who may want to scam you out of your finances. And so we have put together some things to look out for. Often if something seems too good to be true, it likely is. So we have isafety.ucsd.edu and specifically a site dedicated to housing scams specifically. So you just have an idea of what to look out for, how to be really safe and proactive in your housing search. But I also want to verbally highlight what Marisa highlighted as well, that Student Legal Services is a great resource for our students. It's pretty incredible that they will sit down with you and review leases with you. And that can be potential leases. So you can make appointments with them. And as you're looking at these leases and you're like, hey, I don't know if this is normal or not, or this kind of struck me a little bit weird. Like, what do you think about it? It's a really great resource that we'd highly recommend you take advantage of. Okay, so now we're going to hear from some of our community partners. So I'm going to turn it over to Christine to talk a little bit about Room Chaser.
Okay, Grace, can you turn my video on? It looks like I cannot.
All right, you should be able to now.
Okay. Hi, everybody. My name is Christine, and I'm with Room Chaser. So I was an international student. I came with a F1 visa to the United States. I'm from France, and I founded Room Chaser because it was just so difficult to find decent roommates and a good place. It just felt like for international students, only the worst deals were left by the time you get here. So Room Chaser is an online platform. I invite you to go check it out. And so what we do is furnished housing. Everything is furnished. Everything is close by the trolley or bus station. And we also have flexible semester contracts or summer contracts. So if you do not want to commit to a 1-year lease on Room Chaser, you can go ahead and rent a place for just the summer, just the fall and spring. So there is flexibility right there. Next slide, let's go to the next slide. So yeah, so here's what the Room Chaser website looks like. We have an app coming up, but it's not ready yet. Give us a month and it's going to be out. So on the Room Chaser website, the best way to get started is to log in and create a roommate profile. Next slide. So once you log in, you can have access to all the information on the website. You can see the price, you can see all the rooms, and all the pricing on Room Chaser is per bed. So for example, $7.95, this is a shared bedroom. This is the price for a shared bedroom. That's actually our best price on Room Chaser, a shared bedroom from $7.95 per month. Private bedrooms, $10.45. Right here, you can see that's the cheapest private bedroom that we have. And we have housing all over town, from the UCSD area to Pacific Beach, to downtown, to Mission Valley, Linda Vista. So we have a lot of choice all over town. You can also see reviews on the website. Yeah, you can see the reviews, so that's great. Always check the reviews because those are roommates who lived in that unit before, who can tell you how it really felt to live in that unit. So definitely make sure to read those. Next slide. And so also what's great on Room Chaser is that you can see who the roommates are in that place. So for example, here for that place, Bike to UCSD, well, that was a screenshot from last year. So we had Natalia, Xia in Sydney. You can click on them and you can see who they are, what are like their roommate profile, sleeping habits, cleaning habits, smoking, partying, and all of that. And the one thing to do is request a room. If you like this room, if you want to have more information, just click on request. So we know you're interested. It's free to request a room. It's free to get approved on Room Chaser. It's very international student friendly. I was an international student, so I know exactly how it goes. We will just be asking for your I-20 or your DS 2019. So that's going to be your proof that you have funds to pay for housing. And then we'll just be asking for your passport. So it's just 2 pieces that we ask, I-20 or DS 2019, and your passport. If you do not have your I-20 yet, you can send that letter from the bank that you need to send to UCSD. We can take that document too. It needs to show funds in USD, in dollars. Sounds good. Let's go to the next slide, which I think may be the video. So this is a quick video of what we do, what it looks like at Room Chaser. Oh, yeah, that's an ad. That's the ad.
Reshare just to make sure.
Okay, sounds good.
There's also sound as well. So give me just one moment.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you, Grace.
Congratulations on making it to UCSD. It is one of the best schools around. In this video, we'll review 3 neighborhoods that Room Chaser believes are great for UCSD students. Number 1, UCSD and the UTC area. What's great about it, it's super close to school and you can walk, bike, or take the bus and get to school in 10-20 minutes. What is good to know, it is a mostly luxurious apartment community that is quite expensive, and most students share a room and some even rent out their living room as a room to reduce costs. Check out this Room Chaser property located in Villa Mallorca. It takes just 10 minutes by bus to get to UCSD. Number 2, Pacific Beach. What's great about it, Pacific Beach is a very typical Southern California neighborhood right by the beach, perfect for nightlife and surfing. Living in PB is an awesome experience. What is good to know, it is further from campus, and depending on where you live in PB, it can take up to an hour to get to campus by bus or trolley. This 2-bed, 2-bath unit is located in Pacific Beach, and it takes about 40 minutes to get to campus. Check it out. Number 3 is Linda Vista. What is great about it, it is one of the most affordable neighborhoods in central San Diego, and students can afford private bedrooms. What is good to know, you get what you pay for. This neighborhood is more affordable, but housing is lower quality. That means no amenities such as pools or fitness centers, and no on-site maintenance. This 3-bed, 2-bath townhouse is located in Linda Vista, and it takes just 37 minutes to get to UCSD by bus. We hope that now you have a better idea of the geography of San Diego. Contact our housing advisors at roomchaser.com for any questions about housing in San Diego.
Okay, thank you, Grace. And so I would invite anybody who has question about what we do, our places in San Diego, to WhatsApp us or to find us on Instagram. I think we have one more slide with maybe a QR code to maybe our Instagram, or maybe not.
We have this QR code.
Yeah, so that's roomchaser.com, but you can also find us on Roomchaser and just DM and ask questions, and we'll be there to answer your questions. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
Now we'll hear from our next community partner, Carl from Hugs.
Hi, everybody. I'm Carl, also a former international student who moved to San Diego to live the dream. So that's it's been a lot of fun being here, and I want to congratulate everybody for joining, UCSD for being admitted, and UCSD's team for the amazing resources. I'm always baffled at how much work goes into these things. So 2 things I want to mention. Earlier in the presentation, one of the staff members here at UCSD mentioned that you have the option, you're not forced to, but you have the option to be on campus. As a new student, even though I lead an off-campus housing company, my dream was always to live on campus when I first started, because you may not understand how much of a benefit it is at this point, especially in San Diego, but having the opportunity to transition from wherever you're coming from, even if it's just a city over to a country over, having your housing guaranteed removes a lot of potential stress that you might have here. I know that, from my own experience, coming to the US is a transition, coming to a new school, new systems, you'll have to set up a lot of things, from simply a bank account to your phone number to everything. So housing, if anything that can be taken off your plate as you come is a good thing. And housing is one of the major sort of needs that year after year, especially in San Diego, is good to have resolved, especially if you have a guarantee. Even if it's just for 1 year, it can give you the opportunity to learn about the neighborhoods, understand how housing works here, and then make a more informed decision when you're ready to go off campus after the first 2 years, if that's what you end up doing, right? Now, going off campus doesn't have to be hard, but it can be. There are a lot of things that are required by landlords or property owners and property managers here that international students typically just don't have. And there's not much way to go around them because they're hard requirements, right? Companies such as Hugs and Room Chaser, we do our best to, provide solutions that sort of fit the international student lifestyle. For example, we provide a very catered experience and walk you step by step. We have a custom credit score for international students because I came here. When I came here, I didn't have a credit score, and that's why my applications were getting denied. We do referral programs, et cetera, et cetera. So we have a lot of options in terms of how you get into housing here, and we follow through with your experience, so that, you know, if someone has a bad experience at one of our properties, one of our partners' properties, they get blacklisted, et cetera, so it doesn't happen again. So we provide a very catered experience from beginning to end, and when you need to move out or get someone else in the lease. But I would like to emphasize the pros of having the option to be on campus. You can always go off campus, right? Housing will not go away. The apartments will be there. The beach will still be there. The city will still be there. The clubs will be there. Everything that you dream of living close to will be there during your entire stay here in San Diego. So just to, you know, reiterate, the folks at UCSD have done a great job with being able to provide and guarantee housing on campus. Now there are different locations on campus and different communities. But when you're ready to go off campus, if ever, you can reach out to us. You can reach out to our email, go on our website, click on the request housing button, and one of our team members will always be ready to help you out. But again, thank you everybody here, and thank you the staff at UCSD for doing an amazing job.
Thank you, Carl. All right, so next we'll hear from our campus partner, Fran from Court.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks so much for having me. Court Furniture is a furniture rental company. So as you have heard today, many apartments are also unfurnished. And so we take the challenge of purchasing furniture at Amazon or IKEA and all the hours or even days of putting things together. We make it extremely easy for you. So what Court actually does is we will deliver, set up, and pick up your furniture. Our leases are available for any length of time. So if you are looking to come for a short period of time or stay, you know, over 12 months, our $129 pricing is catering to a 12-month lease. We have discounted student packages. If you take a look on our website, I've got a QR code right on the flyer, and our website that will take you directly to our student landing page is court.com/student. We also do have translators available. And if you just contact our 800 number at 855-435-9133, we can assist with multiple languages. We also, as you can see, offer referrals as well for each student once you lease furniture. So please visit us at www.court.com/students to learn more about our student packages. Like I said, we'll deliver, set up, and pick up your furniture when you don't need it anymore. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Okay, so now we have a final few reminders before we get into our open question and answer. So there are a number of ways you can start getting involved in our Triton community. One, our iEvents calendar is a live calendar populated with everything that's going on here that has a global engagement focus. So you can start to look at this to get excited for what's to come at UC San Diego. And iPrograms is a great way to get familiar with some of our recurring programs throughout the year. One program that I specifically want to highlight is our Global Ambassador Program. This is a summer-long peer mentorship program, which matches incoming international undergraduate students with current UC San Diego undergraduate students. You can find this at gap.ucsd.edu and apply to be matched with a mentor today. And finally, we are very active on social media. I think we'll be hosting some giveaways soon. So we encourage you to follow us there. But we are on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, etc. Okay, so some important reminders and deadlines. Two things that you can start doing now. So once you accept your offer of admission to UC San Diego, you can begin applying for on-campus housing as well as requesting your Form I-20 or DS 2019. Now, as a reminder, you do need to accept that offer of admission, which will then activate you getting your single sign-on. So your Active Directory Duo and specifically your PID and your UCSD email. Those are critical pieces that you'll use to actually apply for on-campus housing, as well as request your Form I-20 or DS 2019 from our office. So we've listed some helpful websites there of where you'll go to do both of those pieces. As a reminder, mid-May are when some of those on-campus housing contracts are due. And then in July is when you have some health immunization requirements that are due. You can join us later this week, actually on Thursday at 8:30 Pacific Standard Time, where we'll have our colleagues from Student Health Services talk about health immunization and insurance requirements. And then in September is when we'll hopefully get to meet many of you in person. So that's move-in and check-in and new international student orientation in addition to your college orientations. So here are some of our upcoming webinars. Like I said, later this week, we'll have student health, insurance, and immunization requirements. Then in early May, we'll have a webinar focusing on finances and student accounts. We'll talk a little bit about the CBIS transfer process if you are already in the US and you wish to transfer your CBIS record to UC San Diego. Then we'll talk about student life and getting involved, and we'll end with a webinar on campus safety. You can sign up for all of these webinars at findnewstudentwebinars.ucsd.edu, as well as view previous webinar recordings. We ask for about a week of turnaround time before those are available on our website. Okay, so now we have a few minutes for dedicated open question and answer. And I know that my colleagues have already answered a few questions that have come through the Q&A, but I want to open it up. Are there any questions, common questions that have come through that folks feel like it would be beneficial to verbally reiterate?
I do see some questions about construction and where people might be living in case there's construction going on or space concerns. So there was a question about 8th College. It will be opening here for fall of 2024, but you can't request a specific building. So again, in the earlier slide, first-year students should assume that they're going to be assigned to a residence hall. We also like to make sure that you know that while singles are very popular, they are the least amount of room types we have available, and depending on also the community. So incoming students should probably assume that they will be assigned to triples. Marshall is getting renovated this year. So if we don't have enough space at the Marshall Res Halls, you would be assigned to 6th College, which is right next door. It's also brand new too. So it's not a horrible place to get reassigned to. But I just also wanted to put out there, you can go ahead and choose or select whatever room type preference you have. Again, the options are single, double, triple, mini double, but they are just a preference. So students should assume they will probably be assigned to a triple.
And we have had a question come through the Q&A asking about choosing between buildings within a specific college. So if they're a Revelle College student, can they choose between Argo or Blake and Fleets for Revelle College?
Yeah, they're not, those won't be a preference. So you'll just see essentially, if it's available to you, a facility type, res hall or apartment, a room type, single, double, triple, and then depending on, so again, like using Marshall as an example, because we know that we may have to put people at 6, you may see a couple options for different residential communities, but you will not see a preference for buildings.
Wonderful, thank you.
I had one quick thing I wanted to add. I didn't mention earlier, if you are living on campus, we do have a commuter dining plan. It's called the Triton Community Plan. It's a really good deal. It's $1,000 of Triton cash and $500 of dining dollars. And what I hadn't mentioned about the dining plans earlier is that the dining plans will roll over. Your dining plan will automatically roll over to fall quarter. And as long as you have an active dining plan the next year, it's going to continue to roll over. Just wanted to add that.
Wonderful. Thank you, Pam. Okay, so we are coming to the end of our time together today. I'll invite my campus partners. Please feel free to put any contact information in the chat that students can reach out to you with any follow-up questions should they arise. Here on our screen, you have our contact information. So remember, you can always get in contact with our office via icontact.ucsd.edu. And even if we are not necessarily the appropriate office for that question, we like to think that we work really collaboratively with folks across campus as well as in the community to get you the information that you need. So we hope we've covered a lot of information today, but please, feel free to take some time, digest it, and know that we are here should any questions arise in the future. And with that, I just want to thank all of my co-presenters here, just a wealth of information and expertise represented. Really appreciate you as you help us welcome our new cohort of students at UC San Diego. And with that, have a great rest of your day. Take care, everyone.